That went very well for me feeling unprepared.
Greetings, friends. It's Josh.
And I'm Ryan.
And we are here today on the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
A podcast for gamers who don't have time to game.
Because, we're all busy.
Yeah.
Life happens. We've got kids. There's jobs. There's all kinds of stuff that comes up. And when it comes down to it, you really want to play games, but it's so hard.
And you want to play games that are fun.
And you don't want to waste your time with something that sucks. So, that's what we're here to help you with. And as a parent, I have these moments where I feel very, very proud of my kids or of things that I have done. And one thing that happened recently, this was one of those moments where I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened. And I just did that. So this gets better. You're gonna love this. I accidentally yoded my daughter.
You yoded your daughter.
I yoded my daughter, and you'll understand what that means.
All
in a
right,
second.
here we go.
I don't remember if it was Saturday but I was at home with her, and it was just the two of us, I think, and which doesn't happen. So I'm not sure. Maybe it wasn't just the two of us. I don't know. Anyway, she had wanted something to drink. And so I gave her a cup filled with apple juice, I believe, and I handed it to her and I said, "Don't spill it. Don't spill this." And she says, "I'll try."
Oh, yep.
And I immediately go, "Don't try, do it." And I went, "Oh my gosh." I literally just told my daughter, "Do or do not, there is no try."
Do or do not. There is no try.
That was one of those moments where I was just like, I can't believe that just happened, and I'm so happy that it did. Like, just over the moon that came out like that. So
you did it. You yoded.
I yoded it. Yeah. So that's just kind of one of my funny stories.
I like it.
From being a dead tired dad.
I like it
in general.
Josh, I saw an amazing commercial yesterday.
An amazing commercial.
An amazing commercial.
Okay, tell me about this amazing commercial.
So, my wife and I are watching Hulu, and this commercial pops up from Intel, and the gist of this is all them. I'm not making this up. You can go watch the commercial. This is all them. This commercial was showing these doctors and surgeons working in hospitals, and it made the claim that playing video games reduces medical mistakes by up to 30%.
That's incredible. So I could be a doctor?
So playing video games, we need our doctors and surgeons to be playing video games because it's better for all of our
It's better for our health. Wow.
Amazing.
That is incredible. So if you're in med school right now,
please start playing video games.
You stop studying. Stop studying and just start playing video games. That's what I'm hearing.
Yes. That's exactly what we want our med school students to do.
That reminds me, this is really off the cuff tangential, but about video games. And it really has to do with movies and TV shows as well, but at the end of everything anymore, it has this phrase at the bottom of the credits: all characters and places are fictitious, nothing about this is based on real people. Do we really need that? Is that a necessary disclaimer on the next Avengers movie? Do I need to know that if I get bitten by a radioactive spider, that's not based on someone's...
You mean I'm not Spider-Man?
Right.
What?
Spider-Man is not based on someone's real life? Now wait a second.
So disappointed to find out.
And they started putting it in video games. It's do I really need to know that that I don't understand.
There's an even more useless place that gets put, but it's useless for the other reason.
Okay.
Law and Order Special Victims Unit. If you ever watch that TV show...
That is 100%. They say it.
They rip people right out of the headlines.
They say it in the rip from the headlines. I haven't watched that show in forever, but like I remember like distinctly watching the episode and going like, they were just talking about this on the news. Like, what's happening?
Yeah,
like as a child, I remember like
no, but
that
they
happening.
have the disclaimer that says like it says something like any similarities to real life people is coincidence.
It's
Like, no,
purely
it's
coincidental.
not.
Like, no, ripped from the headlines. You said I don't understand anymore.
Yeah.
No. So. Yeah, no, it's just one of those things. It's always bothered me.
Man.
Like I don't understand why we need that. I feel like they could get rid of it.
You're telling me that if I get wealthy enough, I cannot, in fact, be Iron Man because what's the point?
You'd have to like. But even if you became wealthy enough to become Iron Man, guess what? That movie is still not based on you. You're based on it.
I'm based on it.
You're based on Iron Man. Like.
No, but they said it's not based on any real people. So if I become Iron Man, then
they made it
based on real people.
They made it before you though. Like they made it before you were Iron Man. It's like, everyone wonders why no one's become Batman. It's not because they're afraid of infringing on the copyright or anything, right?
That's why. That's the reason why.
That's why no one's actually been Batman. If you really want to know, like, why none of the billionaires in the world haven't.
Why.
That's it. No one wants to. Also, people don't want to get arrested because vigilante, like, a guy running around.
Yeah, that's way more cool in the movies.
It works in a movie, not
world.
so much in real life. I guess that probably has something to do with it. Oh man. Well, speaking of running around and doing crazy things,
yes,
and being a wild animal, I think you've got a sneak special preview. I don't guess it's a sneak peek. It's a special special review for us today, Ryan.
It is. It's special because we're doing something we've never done on this podcast.
Hypothetically,
before. We are being super ultra current, hip, up to date.
That's right.
So today, God of War releases on PC, on computer.
God of War.
If you are a lucky PlayStation 4 owner, you could have started playing this game back in 2018.
Which I didn't do, so.
Well, now you got two options.
I have two options.
It's probably cheaper on the PS4, but
yeah.
God of War releases today for PC, for computer. Fantastic game.
Fantastic game, he says.
So good. If you're familiar with the franchise at all, it holds pretty true to its roots. Really good story. I can't talk about it too much without. I don't want to give any spoilers because if you haven't played it, there's some really good stuff that happens.
Good stuff that happens in this game. Okay.
It is so we're gonna have to go a little bit off of what we normally do because obviously it's not a family-friendly game.
Right.
Very violent.
Rated M for mature. That's that's the giveaway on that one.
If you're not familiar, you play as Kratos, who is the fictional, not based on a real person.
Not based on a real person. Kratos, God of War.
He is the God of War, and so, he...
bringing it all together.
There's a lot of violence, let's just say that. So, howlongtobeat.com says 20 to 50 hours.
Okay.
So, it's a good game. The 50 hours is for, a more completionist. I have played through it twice, so I'm probably pretty close to that 50-hour mark. I don't know for certain, but I'm trying to get the platinum trophy because I'm pretty close. Yeah, I'm pretty close to getting the platinum. So that's not something I'm actively working on, but every once in a while I'll kind of go back to it and work on a trophy here or there. But the really exciting thing about this is sometime this year, they haven't said when, they've just said 2022, the sequel, God of War Ragnarok, comes out.
So, didn't Assassin's Creed just release? No, it was Valhalla.
Valhalla,
So,
yep.
okay. I was about to say, Wait a second. We're Ragnarok. Wait a second. We can't have multiple games pulling in Ragnarok.
Hey, also, if they have God of War Ragnarok, can they say that this isn't based off something? Because we had a Thor Ragnarok.
Thor, yeah, no.
So
Well, it's not based on any like
it's not
any
based on a
real person.
Yeah.
Real or, but it does say real or I don't know. I don't remember what the thing says. It's a stupid disclaimer. We're gonna leave it at that.
Yeah, that's all that needs to be said. Stupid disclaimer. So anyway, I can't recommend this game enough. I think probably I'm gonna anger some people who really stand for Last of Us 2, but I think God of War is the best PS4 game
Okay.
that they made.
Wow. And that's a PS. I mean, it was a Sony exclusive, right?
Yeah,
Like
it's one of their exclusives. That's one of for a long time now. Sony. I think we talked a few weeks ago when we talked about the 3 platforms. For a long time, Sony was second because obviously Nintendo is the king of exclusives. But for a long time, Sony was second until Microsoft passed them, and God of War was certainly one of the franchises that got them there.
Sure.
So this is the 4th God of War game they've made.
But it's just called God of War.
Yeah,
God of War 4.
It's not. So the first one was God of War,
Right.
And then they had God of War 2,
Right.
and then God of War 3, and now we have just God of War again.
So we're restarting. It's a reboot.
Figure that one out. But you don't have to have played the first 3 at all.
That's good to know.
Yeah,
I'm not going to do that.
It's
actually I might at some point.
I don't know. So like, it's not a reboot per se in that they start over. It's just a new story arc for Kratos, and you just don't have to really
listen, boy.
Exactly.
That's basically what I know about.
That's what you know. Well, that's about 50% of the dialogue, right?
Okay.
Okay, I might be over exaggerating that a little bit. Yeah, so you don't have to play the other 3, so that's not a thing where you have to if you haven't. PC gamers though, get this. You got to go get it. Like, you must, or get it on PS4 if you haven't. But yeah, the reason we're talking about it today is because it's coming out
on PC.
On PC today.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Josh. What else should I say about it?
So you mentioned how long it is to beat. Obviously, not family friendly. That rated M for mature.
Yeah, not family friendly.
Don't play it in front of your kids. So like, what is this, like hack and slash, or are we like more assassin? Like, what's the kind of game style? Because like I said, I have never played a God of War game. So like, what are we looking at when it comes to play style and things like that? Like,
so overall, the franchise has been a little bit more hack and slash.
Okay.
Fighting, I wouldn't say like, it's not like waves of enemies in that sense. There's small groups of enemies, but kind of your button combo fighting style.
Sure.
That certain button combinations do certain moves, whatever you call that type of game. So yeah, this one, it holds true to that, but there's some sort of small, it's not huge, but there's some small crafting and gear elements to it that make a difference in your success or failure on certain boss fights and stuff. So that's kind of a little bit new. Before, you just sort of, the first 3 games were very like hack and slash, just slice your way through everything. But this one has some added elements that I actually think are they significantly improve the experience in my mind.
Gotcha. Now, you said you don't want to give up too much of the story. Now, obviously, like, this game's been out for a little bit, so people probably know a little bit about it. So Kratos has a son.
Yes.
Right? And
that's
so,
right.
Like, is this a like tag along character that you have to like guard the whole game? I'm assuming not, or is it like so are you training him? You're
kinda, yeah, without giving anything away, I can say that you're sort of training him to I don't know if they specifically say his age, but you're sort of trying to train him into being an adult who fights for himself, defends himself, that sort of thing. He's sort of there with you, and he will he's completely AI controlled, computer controlled if you want to. But you can use some certain button combinations to have him, like he's really good with a bow and arrow. So if you're doing hand-to-hand combat, you can press, I think for PlayStation, it's the circle button, and that'll sort of command him to, do certain skills with his bow and arrow. So yeah, it is tag along, but you're kind of training him, sort of leading him on maturing, so to speak.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting stuff. I've been interested in that game for a while, and I just haven't because I don't have any history with it. It just hasn't been yes, I'm going to play.
Yeah.
I just know it from seeing other people in other groups, that I'm in, talking about it, and so it's not been something that I've been I'm ready to dive into this, full-fledged and get this game. It's just not.
Well, so another fun thing about it, if you're not familiar with it, is there's a lot of Greek mythology, and then with this one, they introduce Norse mythology as well. So if you're into either of those things,
so that explains the Ragnar. Yeah,
yep.
And that's what I had kind of thought when about it. I thought it was more Greek mythology, and so the Ragnarok thing was kind of throwing you off a little bit. So, but I guess that kind of goes along with the signs of our times. For whatever reason, Norsemen and Vikings and all that stuff is really become
it's very popular.
A very popular thing, which is odd to me. But whatever.
So
I mean, I enjoyed the show on history. It's a pretty decent show, but I don't
I haven't watched it yet.
It's an obsession, like this obsession with Viking stuff.
Yeah,
it's weird. But
it it has the first 3 games were all Greek mythology. This one brings in Norse mythology. So I'm by no means a history buff on that stuff. I know enough to barely make it seem like I'm into it. But there was some cool things that happened in this one that I was like, oh, and you see the connections and stuff. So that's another aspect of it that's pretty fun. Is sort of, again, that's a whole popularity section that people geek out on. So if that's a thing, a thing for you, then
yeah, for sure. Well, awesome. So that's God of War coming out today. Has come out today. It's out now for the PC. So if you're a PC gamer that didn't have a PS4, now. Ryan says go get God of War so that you can play that. I'm not advocating that necessarily, but Ryan is.
Right now. Go get it.
He would tell me that I'm a terrible person for not owning it already.
Maybe not a terrible person, but you're missing out on a
great game and a great experience. So cool.
If you're into, so I know Josh, I know you like Spider-Man on the PS4.
Yeah.
So make that a little bit more violent and make it about Norse mythology, and that's where you are.
Okay. Yeah.
So.
No, like I said, it's one of those things that I'd probably enjoy. So cool. Well, that's God of War. I want to talk about a game that I had to I kept feeling as I was sitting here listening to you talk about God of War, I was like, oh crud, have I already talked about this game? I feel like I might have already talked about this game, but I'm like, no, I didn't. And I was like, if I have, I don't think I have, and you can tell me, hopefully.
If between the two of us we can't remember, then
who cares, right? But I'm fairly certain I haven't. I think I've been holding off on it because I wanted to play it more, but I haven't had a chance to, and it's time to talk about it because it's been out it's relatively recent, but it's a game for PC called Operation Tango, and I think it's also available on consoles, but I'm not certain. I'm not sure. But Operation Tango is a very interesting game. It's a co-op game, so you have to have 2 people, and it's kind of a puzzle solving game.
Mm-hmm.
And so how this works is one person is the agent, and one person is the hacker. And so like the hacker like is there to kind of help, help the agent get into different systems and stuff like that. So you're trying to stop this terrorist plot basically is the whole thing. And so so the agent is actually out in the field, like going through the buildings and stuff like that, while the hacker is helping them get into things or hacking into computers or cameras and things like that, and so that you can kind of guide the agent through. And so as a 2-player game, you're in constant communication, like, and so what the agent sees is not what the hacker sees, and like so you're seeing two different things, and you have to kind of communicate like what you're seeing. And so Matt and I have played it several times, and they've got several different missions. And the reason that I hadn't talked about it yet is because we hadn't gotten through all of the missions, so I hadn't. But so that one of the downsides of the game is that you have to have someone else that you're playing with.
Okay. That was going to be a question I was going to ask. Like, can you have the computer control the...
Right. No. So... Yeah. And it's hard to explain exactly what it is. So it's not like it's... because a computer couldn't do it because they have to tell you certain things. Right. Yeah. That they wouldn't, that a computer would just know. Mm-hmm. Like as a person, you're like searching through, like as if you're the hacker.
Oh, they would just be able to.
You're like searching through like different menus in like a computer program or something like that. Or, to tell them, what they're seeing, or what they need to do next and things like that. And so, I don't want to bring this up, but I'm going to, because this is another game that I was hoping to review at some point on here. But if you're familiar with the game Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, which apparently you're not.
I am not, but I feel like the title is very descriptive. Yes. Tells me what I'm getting.
So Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes came out several years ago. I think it was 2014 or 15 that it came out. But that talk about a game like so. I talked about last week about my obsession with rhythm games.
Yes.
Another thing that I have a tendency to get obsessed with is puzzle games. So Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes is a puzzle game, but it's a co-op puzzle game. So this is basically a twofer. I'm talking about Operation Tango, and I'm talking about Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes now. So congratulations on that. You guys win the prize.
See, you could have milked that into 2 separate episodes.
I can't though, because
but you're so generous.
I can't because they're tied together. Because Operation Tango is Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes on steroids.
I see.
So if you've played Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, you have just take that concept of so how Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes works is one person has the bomb, and the bomb is on the computer. So the person with the computer can see the bomb.
Yep.
The other people, you can have as many people as you want playing, but they have bomb defusal manuals telling you how to defuse the bomb. Okay. And so what the person with the bomb is doing is looking at the bomb saying, "Hey, this is what I'm looking at. This is what I've got." And the people with the manuals are going through and going, "Okay, this is how you defuse that module on the bomb." Yes. And there are just all kinds of different puzzles and things that go along with that to defuse the bomb. And you've got, obviously it's a bomb, so it's ticking down. You've got your time limit. And if you, as long as you're in open communication and communicating well, you should be able to defuse the bomb. And so that was a game that a friend of mine and I played. One of my friends that I play Age of Empires with frequently. We played that game so much that we had pieces of the manual memorized. so that between the two of us, if I didn't know something, I could tell him, and I could be working on a different part of the bomb to defuse it because I knew what I was looking for. Yeah. So anyway, that's Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes. Phenomenal game. And it's on the Oculus. I want to get it so bad for that because it would just be so much fun. But Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes, if you haven't played that or don't have it and you have a PC, get that game. It's a great party game. You can play it with lots of people. It's so much fun to play. But Operation Tango is only one other person that you're playing with, so that's kind of the difference there.
Yeah.
But it is a very much a keep talking and nobody explodes on steroids, because it brings in that communication aspect, and again, you're seeing different things on your screen, and you're having to communicate and tell the other person what to do. So it's family friendly in the sense that there's no like violence or anything like that, but it would be hard to play with kids around because there are some time elements involved, and so like if you're distracted or if, the mic is picking up kids' voices and things like that, so that could be some issues. But and you can play for just a little bit, and you can also play with random people, so you don't have to play with someone like you can just get into a match and play with someone randomly. Not that I've done that or know if I would recommend that or not. So yeah, Operation Tango and Keep Talking Nobody Explodes are two great games that I would really recommend. They're just so much fun. So
there you go.
Did you have any questions for me on either of those?
I don't think so. I'm familiar a little bit with Operation Tango. I watched something. Maybe it was you. I don't remember. I watched someone play it on Twitch.
It might have been us. We did stream it a little bit.
Yeah, it must have been.
Might not have been, but could have been.
Yeah, so it looks fun. I haven't tried it yet, but
cool. Well, excuse me. That's gonna do it for this episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast. So Ryan talked about God of War.
Yes.
And how great a game that is. And
Must play.
If you have a PC, you should get that. And Josh gave you 2 for 1 with Keep Talking and Nobody Explodes and Operation Tango as great puzzle games that are fun for multiple people to play.
There you
go. So some great games there that we've talked about today. If you liked this episode, you can subscribe to the podcast. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter. Do all the things, share the podcast, do the things that, help podcasts grow, leave us a review wherever you're listening so that we can take that into consideration and change what we do to suit your needs, because that's what we do here. I don't know what I'm talking about, but if you wanted to leave us a comment on Facebook, we'd appreciate that. If you've got ideas of things that we could talk about or things that you want to hear about, if you've got a game you want us to review, let us know and we'll see what we can do about it. Thanks so much for listening. We really do appreciate it, and we will catch you guys on the next episode of the Dead Tired Dads podcast.
Bye, everyone.